Well, hello my friends, it's Shawn Petite and welcome back to my YouTube channel. We're having a wonderful YouTube hop with a lot of chances to win some stencils. So I hope that you follow along. Here's the project that we'll be creating today. I just positively love it. Here are the supplies that I'll be using today. Not a whole lot, but some fun ones. Starting in my handmade journal, and I am putting down some Americana acrylic paints in sugared peach, cobblestone, thicket, and a little bit of gesso. I'm using a credit card or key card, and I'm using some non-traditional colors for my winter project because I was really having a hard time with winter. I've been having a hard time with winter. It just hasn't felt like the holidays. It's just been the strangest year, and I'm just doing it my own way. And how I was feeling, and so this is how I was feeling. I felt a little messy, and so I was creating messily for my winter project. And I used a little bit of a Stabilo all pencil, and then I put down some Liquitex acrylic ink in transparent raw umber to kind of give it a little edge, age, and grunginess, and just kind of making a mess, because that's kind of how I felt 2020 has been. It's a little bit of a mess. And so, yeah. So I'm dropping in a little bit of magenta in Liquitex acrylic ink. I'm thinking at this point, maybe I should try to put in some holiday colors. So I'm going to make some collage papers. I've got a couple of stencils out here. I've got my wreath maker stencil, my pine cone stencil, and I'm stenciling all this down with my archival ink so that I can cut it out. I've actually gone back over it a little bit with some paint as well. So here I've got some Nova Color texture paste, and I have used my stars and snowflakes stencil to stencil out some snowflakes. And I have a larger snowflake stencil that I also use to get some larger ones. And I have just stenciled those out on regular copy paper. This is a piece of rice paper that I wanted to do just some scribbles on, so I used some carbon black acrylic ink and did that. And then I'm coming back again with my wreath maker stencil and doing some of those berries, and just again stenciling that out with my archival ink and coming back in with a little bit of paint to fill in the berries so that I can cut these out. I wasn't sure what I was going to need or how many, so I did a bunch, and so I've got a few extra here and there to save for another project maybe. But now I knew that I didn't want them stark white. I wanted some grungy, and so I used again some Liquitex acrylic ink in transparent raw umber and just went over everything and just grungied it up, and oh, it felt so good. And then I will just cut all of these out, and not perfectly. I'm not doing any fussy cutting, but I'll cut all those out. So I've got a piece of coffee filter, which are great collage elements because they're see-through and you still add a little bit of goodness to your piece. And I'm just now trying to fit the pieces together. So I'm just kind of toning down the background just a little bit, because it is a bit crazy, but that's okay because that's my story. That's part of my story. And that's what I love about our journal pages, is that it tells our story, and every single page should be a part of us and infuse something of us, something that's in us, that's going on around us, in our pages. So I've got some mica powder out here, and mica powder is the most unexpected little treasure when you work with it. So I've got some fluid matte medium and my mica powders, and I love being able to use them because I use them just a little bit here and there, and I'm using the Nordic pattern stencil. But when you put it with the fluid matte medium, it sticks it in place, so it's permanent, but that sparkle still shows up. It's those little flecks of mica that are just so beautiful, that peek through here and there, and show up in the most unexpected ways. And so at this point, I don't know exactly what's going to be showing, what's not going to be showing. I'm just going with my gut. And so I'm going to use the stars and snowflake stencil here quite a bit, because once I started getting some of this down, I was like, oh, I'm kind of getting more in the winter mood. holiday mood, but it took me a bit. And my stenciling's not perfect, and I didn't want it to be perfect because, again, it represented so much of what this year has been, I think, for all of us. Very, very imperfect and out of our control in so many ways. And so I just love this journal page for what it means and how it represents so many things for me. One of the great things about mica powder, as you can see what I'm doing right here, it's mixable. You can take several different colors and several different ones that have underlying reflection, like tints to it, and really create some beautiful colors. So I've got some white out here that's got an undertone of purple, and I'm mixing in a little bit of the brown and a little bit of the magenta to get this gorgeous, gorgeous color. And so mica powders are actually very, very versatile when you think about it, when you work with them, and how transparent and how they add to your layers. I just love it. I don't work with them enough, and I should, because they're so fun. When I do, I'm always like, why don't I do this more often? At this point, I'm trying to think now, okay, where exactly are where my papers are going to be, and where do I want things to kind of show up? And so I'm kind of going outside the bounds of some of the paint and stenciling in outside of that area, because I know that they'll show up out there, even though I'm not sure where all the paper is going to go at this point. But when you turn the journal and that shimmer shows up, oh, it's so fun. So I hope that you will follow along on the YouTube hop. If you comment and like and subscribe at each stop, you get a chance to win a free stencil of your choice. So I'm putting down my papers now with my Liquitex fluid matte medium. And the reason I use fluid matte medium is because it dries faster and I can kind of just keep going on the layers. And so I've got my coffee filter out here, and although it doesn't go transparent, it still allows the layers to show through. Now the rice paper that I'm tearing up with all of my scribbles on it, it does go transparent, and I love using rice paper. It's a little stronger than regular tissue paper and is made for inks and writing and all that kind of thing. So it really does hold up under all kinds of circumstances. And I love that I'm putting down the finding joy, that, you know, kind of my expression of this page and how it just kind of peeks through. So I'm writing out, I did put some gesso down on my music sheet, and then I'm just kind of writing out with some carbon black Liquitex acrylic ink. And I don't typically write out. I'm not comfortable with my handwriting. I don't think it's pretty. But I felt like I needed to do that for this piece because this piece represents so much, and I was really feeling all the feelings about all the things at this point as when I was putting the page together. So writing it out felt right. Now I'm going to start putting everything down with my Liquitex matte gel, and matte gel's heavier and will stick things in their place right away. And because I've got all these layers, I knew that I needed that, and they were thick. Now I know you're noticing that I went right over my writing, and that's kind of because there wasn't any room. I didn't plan all of it out, so I thought, well, but then I realized I can just go back over it. I can write the F over the snowflake, and it's perfect because it incorporates everything together. So sometimes that happens when you're doing your things and you're kind of planning, but you're not exactly sure. You kind of have to go with the flow and know that it's all going to work out. And really, honestly, these are our journal pages. They're for us. They're for our story. And that's what's the most important thing. So I'm just kind of layering everything in there, trying to find the sweet spot for things. And I love it when I can work with collage papers like this, because it really does give me the chance to kind of lift and move and push and put the things right in their right spot. And I did want a lot of the edges to kind of stick up because I really wanted it to be dimensional. again, part of that is really so much of the meaning of this year, all the layers of this year. So now I'm just gonna come back in, put my F in, and look at how perfect that is. Everything happens for a reason. Gave me a chance to kind of go back over some of the lighter areas, and just perfect. Now I'm taking the leftover mica powder that's on my sheet and just sprinkling it over the top. It's all wet. It's got all the matte medium and all the stuff on it. So once it gets in there, it's just going to stick to the matte medium and everything that's on my page. I liked it so much that I added some more. And just kind of dropping that mica powder on there just made me happy. These like little presents, these little perfect surprises of sparkle. So now at this point, I'm looking at my page and there's just not enough contrast between all those delightful little goodies that I've put on the corners of the page there and the rest of the piece. And so contrast is key and king. It just makes all the difference. And so you're going to see me work a bit over the next few minutes to really kind of bring that depth and dimension out of the pieces that I put up, or the snowflakes and the branches and that kind of thing that I put in the corners, because that's how you really create interest, is with contrast. And I'm using a Stabilo All pencil, which is a water-soluble pencil. And I chose that because the piece was so messy that I didn't want it to be perfect. I didn't want the shading and the contrast to be perfect. And so I'm going to work a little bit at getting all of the shading around all of the things to really kind of bring it out. And you can see already in the top corner how different it already looks with just the little bit that I've done. So down below in the YouTube description box will be a link to the supplies and then the link to the next hop. And you'll just continue to hop all the way around and enjoy all of the fun projects and comment and like and all those wonderful things to be entered to win a free stencil of your choice. So now that I've got all of the Stabilo All pencil in, look at how wonderful that looks, how rich and deep. Now I knew I needed just a little bit more, and I needed to be more detailed, a little finer detail. And so I'm going back to my charcoal pencil to really kind of add some more. Not a ton, but just a little bit here and there. I'm adding a little bit more on the stems and in between in some of the connection spots and grooves and different things like that, and kind of adding a bit to the pine stems and that kind of thing, just to really kind of bring everything out. A few more drops of goodness here. And I'm using, this is Liquitex acrylic ink in violet, deep violet. And when I start adding some of that deep violet around the edges here, oh, so good, so good. And then I will shade around the edge of my page with my charcoal pencil. That's about it. Not too difficult. Or not difficult at all, but really and truly an expression of my winter season and feelings and things like that. I hope that you create along with us and enjoy the hop and find your expression of winter for you. And I hope that you like and subscribe to all of the creative team that's part of the hop. Enjoy their projects and hopefully get a chance to win a stencil. All right, my friends, thank you so much, and check out everything down below in the YouTube description box. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.